Kia ora. You are listening to the Mangawhai Show with host Richard Edwards.
Hello and welcome to the Mangawhai Show. I'm your host, Richard Edwards, and wow, what a run of amazing weather we're having up here in Mangawhai. It has been warm, it has been clear, I've been for a swim, my daughter has been for 100 swims. It's just such a great time to be up here in Mangawhai. Enjoy it. It's only going to get busier between now and Christmas. I'm sure the border will open at some point, and it's going to get pretty hectic. If you aren't in Mangawhai now, if you're stuck down in Auckland or further afield, we do really want you back up here, and hopefully we will see you soon, and certainly over the summer. Now, we have a great interview for this episode. I always say that, but it definitely is one. We've got the team from Fit365 and to talk to us about their story coming to Mangawhai, developing that amazing facility they've got out there, and how fitness kind of plays into the community here in our town. But first, we have our what's on about the place and some news. Now, just be aware, we are a little bit laid out with this episode. So this was recorded nearly a week ago, and the dates, they're still fine. You can still go and get tickets to go and look at those fantastic gardens, I believe. But just bear that in mind when you're listening. Thanks so much.
It's time for the news.
And now it is time for some local Mangawhai news. And joining me from the Mangawhai Focus is the editor, Julia Wade. Thanks for joining us, Julia.
Hey, Richard. Thanks for having me again.
No worries at all. Now, a little bit of news around the place, starting off with, we had a wee bit of a COVID scare.
Yes, sorry, I thought you said vivid. Yes, you might have to edit that part. Yes, we did. Yeah, COVID was officially reported in Kaipara last week with family out in South Kaipara. There was a few locations of interest cited as well. But
and this was actually a local case as opposed to someone just kind of visiting as per the last time we had COVID in the area.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I'm actually living in Kaipara, well, East Kaipara, yeah. But haven't heard anything else, but there was a great response from the community. Lots of people went to get tested, and apparently our vaccination rates have risen as well. We're doing really well, said the Mayor, so in Mangawhai. Our vaccination rates too.
Great. Yeah, I think from what we've seen so far, there were a couple of places of interest in Kaiwaka. They live on the other side of Kaiwaka from here, I believe, though they did also visit the office at the Mangawhai Beach School.
Yes, that's right, very briefly. And it was, Mangawhai School did say on Sunday afternoon, I think it was, that they had been cleared in a way because the child was not at school. They were infected. So yeah.
Right.
It seems to be contained.
Yeah, hopefully they're recovering well. Now,
Yes,
Three Waters,
absolutely.
You've been talking to the Mayor about this controversial piece of legislation.
Yes, I had quite a conversation with the Mayor about what this means for Kaipara and Kaiwaka and Mangawhai in particular. And he expressed how disappointed he was about the mandatory status, and stated how the door of democracy has been slammed shut on local people.
Yeah, and that decision we're talking about is the decision to make it compulsory for councils to take part rather than optional.
That's right, yeah. And it seems that 60 out of 67 councils were opposed to it in the first place.
Wow. Now, we've seen a little bit of a scorched earth process going on down at Forestry Beach in the last week.
Yes, that's right, Richard. We've had a couple of people contact the Focus and who have been out there recently and were quite shocked at what they discovered. So I went out for a ride, and yes, it's quite shocking actually. However, there is a good thing happening there as well. So we have all the details in the paper about that.
So just to clarify what they're doing, they've cut down a lot of trees and have been burning some of the leftovers?
Yes, and I think a lot of people expected that a lot of the trees were going to go because they were pines and macrocarpus, but it's more about the impact and how close it is towards the coastline that people have concerns about. Yeah.
Hopefully, as it becomes parkland, it'll be planted out in lovely natives, which I'm sure will grow eventually.
Absolutely. In a few years, it would look amazing, I'm sure.
Excellent. Look,
it's just the process.
Yes, it always is. I mean,
yes.
You're seeing a similar thing up at the Bears at the moment, really, with the trees that have been cut down there. It's going to look fantastic once it regrows, but sometimes you got to take that path. Look,
Yes.
For more information, people can, of course, go and read the Focus at mangawhaifocus.co.nz. Thank you for joining us again, Julia.
Thank you very much, Richard, for having me.
What's on in Mangawhai?
Right, so back to tell us what's on in Mangawhai is Ruby Mitchell from the Kaipara District Council. Thanks for joining us, Ruby.
Thank you, Richard. Nice to talk to you again.
Now, we've only got one event to cover this week, but it's quite a big one.
It is. It is a really big one. It's the 19th annual Wyatt's Mangawhai Garden Ramble. It's going to be held on the 13th and 14th of November, and the organisers have said that for COVID reasons, they're restricting the gardens to those just in the Kaipara area. But that means that there'll be 17 gardens on display over the weekend, and this is one of the ones I'm most excited about. 4 of them are going to have night viewing.
So that's certainly going to be a little bit different. Now, I'm guessing these gardens are a little more established than my overgrown kikuyu grass and slightly dying passion fruit vine in the backyard.
Well, apparently it's actually a real mix of well and also newly established gardens, and then some of them are going to be large, some of them are going to be small, some are in the country, others are in the more central part of Mangawhai. There's apparently also some old favourites which are being shown again, and then another 6 that have never been featured before. You can get the tickets from Wyatt's Landscapes, Mangawhai Books and Gifts at the Heads, and also Bama's in the Village. And you can also go online if you prefer that method via their website. They're suggesting that you get in and get your tickets as soon as you can, especially if you want to pre-order a hamper for lunch at one of the gardens.
I do like a picnic.
They want to yeah, they also want to give a big shout out to their local major sponsors, Wyatt's Landscapes, which is the naming sponsor, and the Real Team Real Estate.
And of course, if people want to remember where Wyatt's is, that's the place where you go and drop your weed.
That's right, the invasive weed, Richard, that's the one, yeah. So you can go to their website, mangawhaigardenramble.org, and that gives a ton of information about the event. All of the proceeds from the event are going to the Mangawhai Kindergarten, so a really, really fantastic organisation, and it's supporting a lot of the younger members of this wonderful community.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. That's Ruby Mitchell from the Kaipara District Council.
Thank you.
Let's have a chat.
Okay, so now for our interview today, we're in a place that, as a larger chat, I usually feel a little bit nervous, and that is in a place that feels awfully like a gym. Though we're not technically in a gym, we're in a garage. We're in the garage of Jo and Aaron McIlwee, the owners of Fit365. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Richard. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
In the garage.
Now a garage is somewhat significant for you in that when you came to Mangawhai, I understand your business started in your garage. Is that the case?
Yeah, I actually haven't thought. We've almost gone full 60, haven't we? Yeah, we did. We started in our garage. It made sense to us. Minimal overheads, no lease. And we still had our gyms in Auckland, but we loved Mangawhai. And so I guess it was our first step to, transitioning our life. The garage gym was always something for us that we built personally.
Yeah, it wasn't actually for
to train in.
Others initially. It was just for ourselves to train in.
It was quite an elaborate gym just for us.
Yeah, I think it got voted second best gym in New Zealand.
Gym, yeah.
Wow.
But of course, it grew from that, I suppose. In fact, it seems like a really long time ago that we just trained ourselves.
6 years ago, yeah.
So 6 years.
We still have some of those original garage gym members training with us today.
We call them the garage gym members.
Yeah.
Garage members.
Yeah.
So 6 years in Mangawhai, but you guys have been in the fitness industry a lot longer than that, I understand?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I guess when it comes to, between the two of us, we've always done fitness, I think, pretty much our whole lives, really. So it was probably natural that we eventually went into it as a career choice, but we certainly had gone other ways before we decided that it was what we were going to do with our lives. But we got the first gym in 2000 and, I always forget, I'm bad with dates, 2012.
2012,
so I guess that's when we started
fitness business.
Yeah, started the first business. And even then it was still a bit of a transition between us both having other jobs and giving it a go. But yeah, quickly did flourish, and we thought, well, hold on, it's about time we put 100% into this. And yeah, that was 2012.
2012, yeah. At its peak, we had two locations. 3 physical facilities, 3 gyms across 2 locations, 230 members, 14 coaches. We ran about 300 classes a month, a couple of, big gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it a sudden or a gradual or what was the timing and catalyst for the move up here?
Yeah, well, we were looking for a bit of a change. We went through a little bit of personal tragedy, but that, when something like that happens, it does sort of change your course direction and you sort of reevaluate what's important in life. And we had a house in East Auckland. We had visited Mangawhai a few times and we really enjoyed it here. So we wanted to give us and our son, Cooper, who was 2 at the time, a better work-life balance and a real good old-fashioned Kiwi upbringing. And so we sold our house in Howick and we bought a house on Jack Boyd Drive.
Yeah.
2015. Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Boyd looked a lot different in those days. You could quite easily have a gym and,
you could do
loud music and not worry about parking or...
It's an interesting...
The council aren't listening, are they?
It's an interesting road, Jack Boyd, isn't it? It's kind of almost has a slight lifestyle block feel, but it's become quite the little suburb, and
yeah.
I mean, it's great for families.
Yeah.
Our kids, it's perfect for our kids. There's so many kids on the street. It's such a real community.
And many of our members initially
Yeah.
were on Jack Boyd, and they just saw us there, and we were running up and down, and obviously it was an open space, an open gym at times. So they just saw it, and they just sort of
neighbours would peer in,
knocked on the door, and can I join in? And sure. And it kind of just grew from there.
And so that grew, and you decided to hand off what you were doing in Auckland? Or?
Well, what we were doing is we were actually commuting for half the week. So we structured our life whereby we worked for the first half of the week in Auckland, Monday to Thursday, and then it was about lunchtime on a Thursday.
Yeah.
We put Coops in the car and we just headed to the beach.
And the plan initially was actually to have 3 days off. I mean, obviously we were running the Auckland gyms remotely, obviously on your laptops, and so that would still happen, but we just needed some time out. I think we got to that point where we just needed some time out, and so that's what Mangawhai was for us.
So our garage was built for Jo and I to, this is our passion, and we like to train and keep fit every day.
And honestly, who puts cars in garages these days?
Cars in garages are overrated. So that's really how it started. And then, like Joe said, people would drive by, we'd get random people call into our driveway. Hey, what do you guys do? Who are you?
Yeah.
Are you trainers? You should start something. We weren't looking at starting anything. But what we did find, it was a really good way of meeting people.
Yeah, it was quite open. Our house was very open. People came in, used water, toilet, that kind of thing. It was a great way for us to get to know people for real and for people to get to know us for real as well. And we're still friends with many of those people that initially came. But to go back to, I think, the original question about how we transitioned up here, we could feel that Auckland was changing. Fitness is quite a tough industry, in all honesty. It can be fickle, and it's hard. And I think we just, also bringing into what we'd been through and also wanting to give Cooper a better life, Mangawhai just had such a nice feel about it. We instantly felt at home. It's small. We obviously love the beach. I think everybody's drawn to Mangawhai for very similar reasons. But it was a bit of a punt for us to give up one. And I guess it was never a risk. We never felt like it was a risk to set up here. It was timing. And we honestly thought, if we don't do this, someone else will. Like, we could just feel Mangawhai was starting to get traction.
Yeah.
People started coming, and not, we were always, people said to us, only old people live in Mangawhai. And we're like, that's fine. Old people like to train. Yeah. Old people like to keep fit.
And
it just started to, we thought, we've got to do this now.
I feel like it's going the other direction. It seems to be young families. I mean, that seems to be the dominant group now.
Yeah, and we're very grateful to sort of make that decision when we did, because Mangawhai is just, the traction is just, it's going now. So to have it established and be up and running is very good feeling.
We just thought we would stay, because again, we didn't come up here to make $1 million, It was a lifestyle change. And so from that period, that half a week that we were up here, we just decided to start with sort of some one-on-one personal training sessions in the morning, one in the morning and one in the evening. And that still allowed us our time during the day, which is the whole reason why we moved up here. But then one-on-one became two-on-one, became three-on-one. And then after about a year of doing that, we actually had enough members supporting us out of our little garage to then, sell out of our business in Auckland and move up here full time.
And that was hard. That was a hard thing to do. Probably not so much for you because Auckland wasn't really your home because Aaron's from further down the line. But I had lived in Howick, since I was 2. And it was a big change for me. Mum and Dad were close, and I probably did take a bit of convincing, a lot of convincing.
And I worked on her for a few months, and we got there.
And it's Howick's an interesting one because it's in Auckland. It is a bit of a villagey kind of feel like up here to an extent as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But no, I think once we decided that, no, we've just got to give it our all because you just can't spread yourself too thinly. And it was about time that we just made a decision. And
like Jo said,
Mangawhai was it.
We're drawn to the beauty of Mangawhai, but, the beach is all lovely, but it's the people that kept us here and that made us want to live here. And we have some great friends now, lifelong friends. We have, fantastic members, and kids have made, really good close
because it is, I think a lot of us are in the same boat. Starting up and starting again as an adult can be a little bit scary, as silly as it sounds, but making new friends, am I going to fit in? You sort of go through all of those, I guess, anxieties that you do as kids. And, there's a lot of families that are doing it now, and it's quite brave. I think anyone that comes up here, starts their own business and starts from scratch is quite a brave thing to do. And there seems to be a lot of people in Mangawhai that do that.
So today you're in this huge facility in the grounds of the garden centre. How big was the garage crew when you made the decision to build that setup?
Wow.
I say 50.
Had the council noticed yet? Or?
Yeah.
Yes. I say 50.
I don't want to say that the council were the motivator, but they were.
Yeah, they encouraged us.
So we got
firmly.
we got to about 50 members regularly training out of the garage.
So we're in a class environment now, but we could easily have 10, 12.
Yeah.
On the driveway.
It was just so hard for us to say no to these awesome people. So, on some occasions, I think the record was 13 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't carpool. They come in separate cars.
Single cars.
So we
had to extend
there were no
the garage.
e-bikes in those days.
So we had to extend the garage. We had to build some more concrete. We needed more rubber flooring. It was just hodgepodge. We used to go up and down the grass.
But that wasn't good enough because apparently we needed a roundabout. The council said we needed a roundabout.
You need to be able to drive in forwards and out forwards.
A roundabout.
And there was no way.
I still
turning circle around the tanks or something.
I still love how some people make this work in Mangawhai. We know, look, there's a business on this road now I'm aware of that does lessons and various things, and they've made arrangements with their neighbours on either side to park in the driveway.
That's exactly
you
what
find
we
a way.
You do.
You do.
And that's the beauty about living in a community like this. In Auckland, you would never have got away with it. No. And
rightly or wrongly.
And we're thankful that we met Colin and Julie, who owned Mangawhai
Landscapes, which is now Wyatt,
which is the container storage park there down the end of the road. And and so they I had been talking to Colin about creating a workout space, an indoor-outdoor sort of workout space using shipping containers. And so when the council visited us, we made it happen with Colin.
It kind of was a bit of a decision to make because we had come from big and busy in Auckland, and there's a lot to be said about being little and personal. But we love people. We love class-based fitness. We did want, because, it was a big step. It was personally, financially, that kind of thing. But, very grateful to have Colin and Julie on board who did help the vision come true, because traditionally in the type of fitness that we do in Auckland, the building's industrial,
warehouse
a bit grimy, style. Kind of that,
warehouse
for lack of a bit of a warehouse box, which just wasn't what we wanted. We didn't want that kind of grungy, greasy feel. So Colin was able to kind of help work with our vision so that we went to a building every day that we wanted to be at.
So I guess people who haven't seen the Fit 365 facility, it's got containers on either side which form part of the room.
Sure.
A large kind of arched tent roof, and then it's got big concrete walls, block walls either end.
Yeah. So essentially what it is two 40-foot shipping containers converted, connected together by a simple shelter. They're called a simple shelter, which we've then extended and added a block wall and closed in a fake wall at the other end.
Yeah.
And it's about 400 square meters of space. So it's a really good facility. In
Yeah.
fact, it's
That would be
very
some expensive square meterage if you're still in Auckland.
very unique,
Yeah.
very unique.
Very unique.
And I guess our guys, I'm sure they appreciate it, but certainly we get a lot of visitors visiting us that, love it. So, especially a lot of our old friends and fitness sort of colleagues who train in
It is
Auckland.
unique. Yeah.
And they come here and it's just, something they
It's
haven't
something to be,
worked out
like,
on.
we're really proud of it. And so we're very grateful to Colin and Julie. And we did have a real team that helped us. But I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it as a building because gyms don't always conjure up positive feelings for people. The buildings can, they can be quite intimidating or flashy.
No fluffy white towels.
No fluffy white towels.
No water
hair
coolers.
straighteners.
no smelling, nice smelly stuff in the bathrooms.
We just wanted it to be a cool place for people to come in, and that's what it is. And we love it. We love going to work every day.
It's pretty humble.
Yeah.
Is it rare getting to plan a building, design
Absolutely.
a building in that kind of way to suit what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
There's a little story to that too. So Colin and I flew to Australia and we went and did a bit of a recon mission over there, looking at some places that had used shipping containers, sort of a bit more in an outdoor setting. And we went and did a workout in one of them, which was it was good because then the path that we thought we would go down, we went and tried it out. And when we went there, it wasn't as good as what we thought. And so we went down this path. And so we sat in a cafe in Mooloolaba across the road from the beach, and we drew the vision on a napkin whilst having our coffee. And that napkin was the vision, and that's come to life. And I can honestly say that what we've created was far better than what we had envisaged on that napkin. So
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I don't know of any other gyms in New Zealand that have got a similar setup. People are having to be quite creative now, I think. But yeah, it's certainly fairly unique.
And is that you guys for some time? I mean, any thoughts around expansion or around developing a bigger facility or a different facility? You're happy with what you've got for now?
Yeah.
Yep, we're happy.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about keeping it small and the way that we like to work with people is very much more on a one-on-one basis. Bigger isn't always better.
How big are you now? I mean, how many people are you guys training, or how many do you have in the groups that run through there?
So we would have 100 members there or thereabouts. So we have about 80 members who train in what we call our Gen Pop or general population classes. They age and range from 71 down to teenagers, okay, and everyone in between. And then we have a specific class which we call the Master Class, and that is a class for the older, more mature athlete, should we say. They just prefer to train with like-minded people, and that their ages range from 55 through to, again, 71, 72. And there's about 15 ladies and gentlemen that come every Tuesday, every Thursday at 7:30, and such a great group. In fact, it's my favourite class. I love
Because they give them
those guys.
a little bit of shit.
They give me a bit of shit and a bit of lip, but that's okay. And then between us, we probably average about 15 personal training sessions. So we have our group class, our Gen Pop classes, we have our master class, and then we have our personal training clients as well. So, so all up, we're looking at about 100 members. Yeah.
It's not your typical sort of gym as such. You're not going in there and there's a bunch of machines lined up and you go and jump on something for 15 minutes, then move to the next one. How would you describe the style of workouts that you guys are providing? And not to use a trademarked word, it's not CrossFit, is it?
Absolutely not.
It's not. And Aaron and I will always say it. We probably owe our passion or certainly for me, the reigniting of wanting to move again and wanting to be in a gym. CrossFit definitely sparked that. I had gone through a stage, and I've done a degree in how to train people in a gym and how to train people on machines. And with all due respect, I find it quite boring. And if I'm bored, I guarantee that the person, you might get a buzz for a few months, but then it can become a little bit boring as well. So we definitely tip our hats to CrossFit when needed, because it certainly, I find, reignited my desire to want to train people. The beauty is with Aaron and I have been doing this for over a decade now, coming up to a decade, is that we've got the belief in ourselves and also belief in other people to expand, diversify, modify, keep some things, change it. And then coming to Mangawhai, we could almost redo it how we wanted.
Yeah, and we created our own
We
brand.
created almost our own way of doing things, certainly calling on other people's expertise. And so this is why we just, you stop using the CrossFit word and we just Fit 365 Mangawhai. We're just Aaron and Jo and our coaches, and we've been able to, change it up. It works for us.
We found that, I guess, as Jo said, our DNA was CrossFit. We went to the very first CrossFit gym that opened in New Zealand in 2007, 2008.
Yeah. And we still have a very close relationship with the owners
and members from that gym now train with us in our other fitness business, our online fitness business. But so that, like Jo said, that sort of started us down the route of functional fitness.
Yeah. And I guess that is the correct word. It's a bit of a buzzword now, but it is functional fitness.
Yeah.
If we're going to box it.
But what we found was, and it's not just the fitness industry, it's all industries, as CrossFit went through a massive growth period around the 2013, 14.
Reebok got behind it. CrossFit Games went mad. Athletes are all over YouTube, and it's just.
And unfortunately, it when something blows up like that, the quality dilutes.
Yeah.
And so we saw lots of gyms opening and training people for the wrong reasons or different reasons than why we got into the game, to help people live fitter, stronger, healthier lives, as opposed to trying to train people like elite athletes and getting them to the Olympics or the CrossFit Games. And so we didn't want our reputation and our professionalism to be tainted by those other people that are doing that. And so we decided to create our own brand that was more synonymous with how we do things. We've taken bits and pieces from the CrossFit world. Jo's a Pilates instructor. We're very big on nutrition and having that as part of our service.
The balance. And
creating a facility where your 72-year-old can train with your 15-year-old, and obviously anywhere in between that. Yeah.
And I mean, the name itself, Fit 365, is you're not here just to train for a comp. You're not here just to get lean for your wedding. This is 365 days.
It's a lifestyle
of the year. This is come to a place where you can safely train and be motivated, not just for a short time, but for 365 days of the year on year on year. And we're a testament to that. We do practice what we preach. And we've just seemed to have, you just come into your own. The longer you're in an industry, the more you figure out what actually works, what's bullshit and what's not.
Yeah. And that's between us, we have seen thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different bodies and the way people move, and not everyone moves the same. So, yeah.
Mangawhai seems to me, from having moved it from Auckland several years ago, a very outdoorsy, very active place. Yeah. I mean, do you think fitness is quite an important thing to a lot of people here, more so than maybe Auckland?
I think that fitness is important to everybody, but I think in Mangawhai, people want to do it for the right reasons, for lifestyle, so they can get out and surf, so they can get out and swing on the bars with their kids, so they can run up the sand dunes with their teenage kids. Like, people seem to be in it for the right reasons, and I think that's the difference. And I think that's why we fit so well here, because people want to turn up every day. They don't necessarily want to win every day or go to the next competition. They want to have stronger knees so they can surf. They want to be stronger upper body so they can pick their kids up and put them on. Like, I feel that's probably the main difference between what we were seeing in Auckland, maybe.
And it doesn't have to be at Fit 365, and that's the other angle too. Like, for me personally, I don't care if someone comes to our gym or they go and do the cliff top walk. I just want them to be active and move and find something that they enjoy doing, because if fitness becomes a chore, then you're less likely to do it. So if surfing is what you do for fitness, that is great.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to complement your surfing, or you're just looking for something a little different,
so you can surf for longer.
Well, let's get some a tip out there for people. For the surfers in Mangawhai, what exercises should they be doing to improve their surfing?
Oh, well, that's easy. Burpees. No.
Squat holds.
No. So, I mean,
core.
Everything, right?
Yeah.
Our fitness makes you a generalist, not a specialist, right? So we're going to make you generally fit and strong. So it doesn't matter what activity you do, whether you're picking up the lawnmower to put it on the trailer on the boot of your car, whether you're picking up your kids, whether you're going for a surf or whether you're walking that cliff-top walk.
Yeah.
If your muscles and your tendons are stronger, if your mobility is better, if your bones are stronger, if you're cardiovascularly fitter, then that's all going to help you in your daily life.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
And I think that's what I like. Going back to, I really like training people here, because the biggest buzz we get is when someone says, I used to not be able to do that outside. It's not even, I can squat this, or I can now do this many pull-ups. We get that as well, and that's cool. That's really cool to gauge improvement on that. But it's very cool when someone says, I can now go on a bike ride, or I can now do a full roll with my kids, or I can do a cut. That is way cooler to hear from a coach's perspective than I can now back squat 30 kgs more. It's like,
and I had one of my masterclass members come up to me the other day and said, when I started, I couldn't bend down and tie my shoe. And now there's no problem, and you don't realize that as we get older, the neurological elements to fitness as well as the physical fitness start to go, right? Your coordination, your balance, your accuracy, that mind-body link stuff. So not being able to bend down and tie your shoe, that's quite a profound
and we
issue,
actually,
right?
we often refer to the masterclass, but that can happen a lot earlier in life now. Like, you can have 30-year-olds that move not so great. So, we're not talking about older athletes now. We're talking about getting older and having to work on it, but it's actually younger people as well now that are having the same battles through no fault of their own. Their job could involve a lot of sitting, or their job requires them to only move in one plane or only work in one pathway, and all of a sudden the rest of the body becomes weaker and they can't do other things that they want to do. So as Aaron said, it's about actually making you more functional as a generalist, so you can just do more cool stuff.
Yeah. Now, you did mention competition before.
Yeah.
You guys do still have members and groups that go out for competition. How have you gone with that? I mean, is Mangawhai kicking people out around the place?
We always get called into teams, and I'm like, mate, I'm retired.
Yeah, we the good thing probably about being here in Mangawhai is that the competition scene is a little less intense. We've got a great relationship with the guys up in Whangarei. They run some really cool comps. We still have relationships with coaches in Auckland, so sometimes our members do go down to Auckland. Yeah, they hold their own. Competitions now, there's so many people that do it at so many levels that you often are just going to hopefully have fun. You're always going to have your elite, but that is very much sort of a different type of training now. So when our guys go, and we encourage our guys to go, we want them, and we quite often say, we just want you guys to move well. Get out there, move well, enjoy it. Sometimes the people that win aren't moving well. And so for us, it's all about our athletes going out there, moving well and enjoying it and getting their own personal bests.
Yeah.
And that is really what it's all about.
Speaking about someone who does win, I've seen a little bit lately on social media, Shaun Johnson working out in the gym.
Yes. And his wife, Kayla.
And his wife,
Kayla.
So he's a member now, or he's been...
No,
he's an honorary member when he's
a Jack Boyd resident.
So that's the most important thing. He lives in Jack Boyd.
They were our neighbours, and he's a legend, isn't he?
They have become friends.
They're friends of ours. He's a legend. He, we're happy he's back playing for the Warriors. And anything that we can do
it's nice when he puts us on his social media pages. They're very grateful for them.
Very grateful.
They and both himself and Kayla have got sports contracts with teams, athlete contracts, and they need somewhere to train. And they asked us, and they really enjoy it.
So Shaun does his, they do their own thing, but then she's a fan of the classes, and our members get to train, alongside a top level.
It's new to them. Like it's, they get, for someone like Shaun and even Kayla, they're, used to training, I guess, with their team, with other athletes. So maybe coming and training at Fit 365 is
with
a little
weekend
bit more
warriors.
It's a little bit more fun. They enjoy it. There's a bit of banter. We have a chat, and I guess for them, they're ticking their box of getting their training done. But I know they're grateful to be able to use the space, and it's been good to get to know them.
It's no secret around town that Bowden Barrett spends a bit of time here now. Are you hoping he'll pop his head into the gym at some point?
Being a Wellington Hurricanes rugby supporter, he would be more than welcome. Yes, he would be more than welcome. And my son, I think, would be pretty stoked to have Bodie Barrett.
Well, he's got him on his Weet-Bix card, so he'd quite like to meet him.
If you're listening, Bowden, that is an open invitation.
Definitely an open invitation.
Even though you play for Auckland, mate, it's all good. You've given your life to
Wellington.
to Wellington. So
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Now let's talk about something probably a little more, I guess, negative over the last couple of years, and that's been COVID. That has hit the gym sector pretty hard, I imagine. You are one of the first to close and one of the last to reopen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It can't be, it's definitely not easy. And I mean, my thoughts go to all our friends who own gyms in
Yeah.
Auckland and around the country, because, you know, we've also been there and done that and know how difficult it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I guess, if we had our way, gyms would be open right through. It's great for immunity. It's great for mental health. To keep the positive vibe going is something that Aaron and I were like, right, we're not seeing people every day. Because for us, that's our thing as well. We love seeing people every day, and we like to see people face to face. We're in a face-to-face industry. So really quickly we had to adapt. And we had we're in this garage now, but in our first lockdown, we didn't have this. We were, how do you call it? It was a shell. I suppose there was no roof, there was no walls. We had a floor.
No, it had the framing up, and it had building paper and a roof.
Yeah.
One colour roof, though.
Yeah. So our goal was, right, well, we have to keep these guys engaged. And we thought about it. We thought, okay, well, we'll write workouts. We can do that, and we can send it to them. But then we're like, they're not going to do them. So then we're like, okay, well, maybe we'll demo the movements. Remember the first couple of times we just did it on the deck, and we were like, well, we'll get on our phones and we'll demo the movements, and then we'll go, okay, you guys go and do them. Still, they're not going to do them. We're like, right, really quickly, we've got to do the whole workout. We've got to do it with them. We're going to go live every day. And really quickly, we're lucky because Aaron does definitely have a head for, I guess, the technical side of computers and phones and and how Facebook works and all of that. And so really quickly, within days, we were online every day at 9:00 doing a workout. We pivoted fast. So we rented the equipment out, or got the equipment out. We programmed for minimal equipment. So none of this, no rigs, maybe one piece of equipment. Because the other thing was we had membership that we wanted to share our equipment out with. So we couldn't just be handing out boxes. And so we had to, that was in itself a bit of a task. But it worked. We went online every day in that first lockdown, every day at 9:00.
I'll tell you, I came back from lockdown.
We were fit.
really, really fit. Because it was a 7-day a week.
And I'll tell you what, we had the same people tuning in every day. And for a lot of people, especially those that maybe don't, we were busy. We have 2 kids. There's 2 of us. We had Kieran living with us at the time. We're a busy house. But there are people out there that it might only be them. It might only be 2 of them. And that's a really long time. And in that first lockdown, we hardly left our houses. We hardly went out the driveway.
We didn't. I don't think
we were told not to. Yeah. And so we kept connections, and it was really important for us. It got people up in the morning. And of course, on Facebook, you can watch it back. You could do it with your kids. You could draw your partner in. And people were really, we know people, we were grateful to have people doing it with us, but we know for a lot of people, it did just help keep them going. So we had a model. And the other few lockdowns that we've had, we've just been able to flick into it really quickly. Aaron's got we used to have like 2, we had a phone for music, we had a Zoom, we had 1 laptop for Zoom, we had another laptop with the workout on, and we just, we knew what we were doing, but we really did just want it to feel unstructured and to get up and to connect with our members.
Just mainly the connection, just keep the connection with our members.
So that when we reopened, people didn't feel like they were starting from scratch, didn't feel like they had to kind of get over their anxieties again of coming back to the gym, because there's always an element of that when you have some time off. And it worked.
And that crystallized into Fit 365 Home, this big brand I'm seeing on the wall behind you.
Well, it
reaffirmed that it was needed.
We started Fit 365 Home, the company, 3 years ago.
Right.
So it has always been on the radar. So
COVID got in the way.
Yep.
Last year it got in the way big time.
We started the company about 3 years ago, and we had a vision. We hadn't quite settled on how we were going to run it. We had an idea. We weren't 100% happy with that. Then COVID got in the way. And so that quickly brought this project to the fore. And so after the lockdowns, after the first lockdown, we went about creating Fit 365 Home as it is today. And that's cranking now. We've got 60 members training with us all across New Zealand. A couple of overseas. We had a lady, Sandra, in
Spain. Scotland.
No, she's Spanish lady living in Glasgow, and we've got someone in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Switzerland, yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
Aussie.
So, yeah.
So we started Fit 365 Home for everybody, really, not just for people in Mangawhai. I mean,
people that can't go to the gym.
People can't go to the gym for
busy mums at home that are time poor, because they've got to look after the kids.
And dads.
They don't have, and dads, yes, and they don't have equipment, so minimal equipment. We cater for people that do have equipment as well, but then cater for people that don't have equipment.
And also people who don't have access to gyms. A lot of people are going off the grid now. They're going, got the big lifestyle blocks. People are moving out of the city. And when you move out of the city, you're often leaving those things behind.
Cost is a huge factor for a lot of people paying for gym memberships. So
and also, believe it or not, there's a whole lot of people that don't want to go to a gym. And we get that. We like those people. Like, we understand that, it's time out of your day. It's time out of your pocket. And sometimes you don't want to. You don't want to be around. We love class fitness. We love it. And that's what Mangawhai, the 365 Mangawhai
So we still
is.
do the workouts. Let's put that and make that straight. So Jo and I still do the workout. It's professionally filmed and edited, produced.
So we do it with them. And that's the other thing. There's a whole lot out there now that can give you the workout or show you how to do it and then leave you. And we just always wanted to have that, I guess, that differentiating point that we're going to do the whole thing with you. And we're going to chatter about it, and we're going to puff and sweat and complain. That's what goes on in a normal gym.
The man behind the cam, turns up the ambient music as we're doing the burpees and the thrusters and what have you. But, it's $5 a week, and they get 3 professionally filmed and programmed workouts released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They can do it at 6 a.m. when it's uploaded, or when it's live at 6, or they can do it, in their own time.
Is that the kind of future of fitness? I mean, do you foresee in a few years you guys are training thousands of people around the world via a video camera in your garage? I mean, is that the scalability of it? Is that what you expect?
No, I think that's part of the future, and I think it's a combination of in-person and remote. Personally, I think people still like to go to the gym. They still like the human face-to-face connection.
Go for a coffee after a workout.
Big reason why we, I guess, fell in love with this type of class-based training, because back in the day, before 2007, like Jo said, it was all machines. It was go to the gym, put your headphones in,
read
jump
a magazine on the bike. You remember
jump on the
ladies?
cross treadmill or whatever you call them.
We used to read magazines.
Yeah, as you're doing your fast brisk walk.
You put your magazine over the clock, so that you LCD panel, so you didn't have to see how long you had to go.
All of a sudden, we're working out with a whole variety of people, and you are motivated, you're inspired, and it broadens your social network. And let's face it, man, there's some
and I think that will always happen. But as we touched on, there's so many reasons why people don't want to or can't. The way the world is at the moment with lockdowns and other restrictions and things like that, then for a lot of people this will be absolutely perfect for them. In fact, our biggest sign up for home has been during Auckland's very extended lockdown.
So what's the best way people can find out more about, Fit 365 Home, but Fit 365 in general? Your website, Facebook page, tell them where to go.
Yeah, so the first place of call would be, do people go to websites these days?
I don't know, Richard, do they?
Yeah, I think they do.
Or do they go straight to
Fit 365?
I mean, we're on.
You still say dub?
You see what I mean? She's
Is there a .com or a .co.nz on there?
There's .co.nz. So we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got websites for both. So Fit 365 Mangawhai.
Facebook and Instagram are probably where most people.
Fit365home.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so .com because that's more international based.
Yeah. Now, it is a fantastic day here in Mangawhai. Are you hitting the surf this afternoon, or you got to go back and take another group through the shed? Oh, already been?
I've already had a 2-hour surf this morning.
Don't worry, I was holding the fort. I was at the gym today.
Hey, it was actually with some members. So some could say
sometimes, Richard, sometimes Aaron's PTs would rather go for a surf. So I think if you're a surfer that also wants PTs, Aaron will let you off to go for a surf.
Well,
it's quite a good arrangement in my book.
I guess that is the joy of having a gym in Mangawhai Heads. Look, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. That's Jo and Aaron McIlwee from Fit 365.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Richard. Cheers.